Good morning. Happy Thursday. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Meme. Hey, Linda. How are you guys doing? Hello. Hello. Well, hello. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, I'm back. Second cup of coffee is making the morning better. Heck yeah. Thanks, Linda. I'd fire the president. Well, that unfortunately wouldn't change society. That might make right now a little bit better. I guess depending on who took over. Let's be fair, a lot of his administration is equally as incompetent. So make MAGA illegal. Not sure how you do that, but okay. Over on the tube I put mine, I said we should make a commission outside the US government to hold all politicians accountable. I think one of the biggest things that has been shown is that that Congress cannot, or like our government cannot hold itself accountable. You got a Twitch notification for me? Heck yeah. Guys, remember, if you do have a Twitch account and you have a Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe for free over there and help me out. Something nice you can do to help make it possible for me to keep doing what I'm doing. Hey, OC. Hey, Jeremiah. I see the US has launched another heavy wave of new attacks on Iran. Did you see the pathetic hearing with Fauci? Embarrassing and disgusting. Yep. Yeah, it was dumb. I watched his opening statement and I completely understand and agree with him as to why he just chose to plead the fifth on everything. He's literally he was brought in front of that of Congress dozens of times regarding what happened. There's nothing new. There's nothing new out there. They weren't the questions they weren't asking weren't new questions. There was nothing new. If they asked a new question, then maybe. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Scott. Gave them no chance to try to trip him up. Although he's far smarter than the. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, Holly's questions were ridiculous. Like, I know he's like, oh my gosh. Rand Paul has some interesting dreams about Fauci. Rand Paul has some interesting dreams about Fauci, I think. Hey, Zoe. I have to head out for an appointment, but I wanted to say good morning. Good morning, Jelly. Which is why I think one thing that we could do is have an outside commission that is completely separate from the government. The government has no control, but in terms of accountability, answers to this commission. Morning, Patty. I mean, most of what they do is a big waste of time right now, right? Like, that's what's new. Abolish police. I don't agree with abolishing police as a whole. I do think we need to do things that make it less necessary to have police do as much as they do. That wouldn't help society at all, Charlie. But thanks for playing. Hey, Kevin. We've literally been doing that for 4 months. You can't get rid of Democrats. The Democratic Party is a corporation. Or do you identify with a corporation, Charlie? Because that feels weird. Like, Democrat is just a word. It means nothing. It's a corporation. Maybe, just maybe, you could get over your damn identity politics and actually care about the country. Then maybe we could get stuff done. They aren't people. The Democratic Party is a corporation. That's like saying we should get rid of everyone in every corporation. Which a lot of people work for. A broke corporation? Yeah. People on the left don't give money to the National Party. So what? They're giving tons of money to actual people running off for office, though. Why would people want to give money to a corporation? That seems dumb. Hey, Bonnie. Our behavior towards each other, we treat each other like crap. We should respect each other more. I think there's some truth to that. No more organized religion. That's not really possible. But I mean, I guess I can understand the desire, but people turn a lot of things into religions. I think people have turned money into a religion. I mean, again, I hear you, Doc. I'm not sure how that would work, because again, I guess I could understand the idea of abolishing the church, especially as a tax-free organization. I could see that one. Because again, you know, Christianity beliefs are supposed to be personal. So that, again, those are hard ones. I hear what you're saying, though. Absolutely hear what you're saying. How do you criminalize someone's beliefs? We don't stop behaviors, though. That's the problem. Criminalizing it doesn't stop it. In fact, I would say criminalizing it makes it stronger. Churches should be taxed. Hey, Captain, how are you? Tackle the issue around trafficking, make housing affordable, deal with drug addictions. Totally agree. Totally agree. Can't argue that one. Hey, Eleanor. Hanging in there. The new meds are keeping me stable. Good. I'm glad to hear that. But that doesn't stop it. That just puts it into the shadows. That's like arresting people for any beliefs. I know it's been too long, Eleanor. I hope you're doing well. Establish an authoritarian government? I don't think that would help society. Well, then I guess I would be arrested then, Doc, which, you know, doesn't feel like it would help society, but as someone who has spoken out against Christian nationalists, I've completely understand everyone's hatred of it. I'd have a 5-group governmental aid aiding the homeless, the addicts, veterans, single parents, low-income families. You can't end religion. It's not possible. No two-party system anymore. That I totally feel. And, you know, hopefully people will get more active. Morning, Kelsey. Doing all right. Work has been crazy, but keeping my head up. Good. I think there's a lot. I think the internet has destroyed critical thinking too. I think AI is partially destroying critical thinking. But I mean, I hear you. I hear you. Elon Musk is a menace. Deport him. Not the Christianity I grew up in. Not the Christianity that I believe. But yeah, there might be some. Are you saying do away with the two-party system? Yes. Yes. I have read my Bible for a long time. Can't be a one-party system either. True. Can't be a one-party system either. Yes, I've heard of the 10 Commandments. Well, ranked choice, please. Truth. But yeah, I think a multi-party system would be much better. Because back when the 10 Commandments were written, slavery was okay. I don't believe the Bible is the inerrant word of God. I believe it was written by people that believed in God. And they wrote based on this kind of society they lived in. Working on understanding and recognizing systemic racism and my own white privilege. That would help our society a lot. You're like the Lucas warm Christian. Okay. I'd hope as a society we're advanced in our thinking than when the Bible was written. Truth. Focus on building a country to better the next generation, not just sustain the older generations. Totally agree with that one. I would make sure we use the sustainable tech we have to do less damage. What makes you, Doc, get to decide what my beliefs are lukewarm Christianity? I've been a Christian literally my entire life. I've like, do you think the age threshold for elected officials should be lower? The age like to get in? So the way it technically works, you just said the Bible isn't the inerrant word of God. Yeah. The Bible didn't exist in the beginning. The Bible is something that was put together, that was decided by men thousands of years later. Or not thousands, hundreds of years later. I forget when the first Bible was actually put together. What's the evidence for a beginning? What's the evidence for a beginning? There's always a beginning. Whether God was the literal creator of the beginning or not, I don't care. That's not what I care about. Prove that? I don't have to. I'm not telling you that God created. I'm not trying to prove to you that God created the universe. Then you're just gabbing. I'm so confused. I have no evidence there was a beginning. Okay. No one does. True. I'm still confused as to what the problem is, or what the point is. So why you're presupposing there was? Because I believe there was. I'm not trying to force you to believe it, though. Just I believe it. For fun? No, that's my beliefs. Me too. Healthcare should not be for profit. Totally agree. Hey, Gen X Angel. Hey, Silver. Boring, you created universe on your socialist, communist thinking? What? This is getting weird.
What, you're having a problem understanding that you're a socialist communist thinking?
I'm confused by a lot that's going on right now.
Well, let me explain it to you. That's what I'm here for. You see, Mike, their usual one-word inane catchphrases like woke and trans and woke and trans and woke, that ain't working no more. So about a month ago, 2 months ago, they came up with communist socialist. So they'll keep throwing those words out, even though they haven't the foggiest idea what they mean.
I mean, I'm also confused as to why I have someone mad at me for literally saying who doesn't like Christianity, that as a Christian, I don't agree with those people that do and say things based on those what I would call horrible beliefs. And I'm still getting shit about it. I'm so like, what? I don't know. This is a weird. It's just so. So weird. Like I said, if I said over on the tube, I think we should make an outside commission that's only job is to hold politicians accountable, because I think politicians have shown. I know you want me to. I don't want you to excuse anything. Literally, don't want you to excuse. I've never asked for an excuse. Have I ever asked for an excuse for myself? Once? That you are allowed to believe that. Linda, it's okay. You're literally complaining that I'm not agree. No, I'm not complaining that you're not agreeing with me. A lot of people don't agree with me. That's not what I'm confused about. Well, then you should have been just as angry when the president pleaded the fifth over 400 times. He explained why he pleaded the fifth. He was brought before the court, before Congress, how many times before Biden left? Like a dozen, if not more. So are you angry at both then? No, I understand why he did it. If they asked different questions, then maybe I would have been annoyed, but no, why would I be mad at someone using their constitutional right? Did I like it? No, I think the ability for people to do that is a little too, just as with everything right now, especially when it comes to the law, it's kind of been taken to an extreme by a lot of people, especially people in power. I'm not a fan of that, but I'm not angry at him. I don't think him pleading the fifth means that he should. I didn't think Trump pleading the fifth meant that he deserved to go to jail.
Look, the bottom line is the Fifth Amendment is your constitutional right. And yesterday's hearing with Fauci was nothing but a dog and pony show, a way of satiating Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky's fetish that he has about Mr. Fauci. If I were Mr. Fauci's attorney, I would have told him to do the exact same thing. Plead the fifth, let them come after you. They can't.
Cheech, so what you're saying is you don't care about democracy or freedom. And also, what do you believe socialism and communism is? Because I guarantee it's not what you believe it is. Not if you think democracy is that. What is that? What do you think it is? Or are you just angry because people are trying to scare you again? You're not answering my questions, Cheech. What is socialism? What is communism? Because they aren't the same. As much as everyone loves to just say they are one and the same, they are not. Just like when anytime the police question you, lawyer up immediately. Yep, your constitutional right. Society needs to bring back truth and reality, even if it hurts your sensitive feelings. Well, truth is relative. Facts aren't, but truth can be relative. Socialism is taking your shit and giving to someone who didn't earn it. False. That is not what socialism is. But thanks for playing. Oh, no, it's not. Nope, that's not socialism. See, this is what I'm talking about. They don't know what it means. No, Jamie, they don't. No, you guys are the ones making the statements. I would love you to go find out what it means. I would love you to go do the work.
They don't care what it means, Mike. All they know is that the usual talking points that worked 2 years ago, trans and woke, don't work anymore. So they've now been ordered by Fox News to blather socialism, communism. They have no idea, nor do they particularly care what it means.
Stop letting foreigners come to our country and tell us to change it and that it's so bad here. I'm not a foreigner. And I'm telling you it needs to change and that it's bad here right now. No foreigner made me believe that. Streamline zoning laws to increase housing to bring down prices and then privatizing healthcare. What? Healthcare already is privatized. I don't want privatized healthcare. Why would you want to privatize? Why would you want to privatize something that's already privatized? I'm confused. So that's just so. Everything is so weird.
If you think it's weird now, wait till you see what it's like about a month from the midterms. Going to get a whole lot weirder.
Harold, what is socialism? What is a socialist to you? I agree with some of the things that socialists believe, but I would not consider myself a socialist. No, I will not accept your join request. I'm an isolationist. Isolationism does not work in 2026. Wouldn't work.
It also didn't work in 1914. It also didn't work in 1939.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work for you at all. You're not isolated right now. You're on the internet talking to people from all over the world. That's not That's not isolated at all. If it would have worked if we allied with Germany.
Wow. Yeah, our buddy Adolf. Yep. Good idea.
We are isolating. I'm not isolating. This country isn't isolated, nor should it be. Last time we tried to isolate it caused a friggin' Great Depression. National Socialism is the only true pro-white philosophy.
Don't feel bad, Mike. I had no idea what to make of that comment either.
I'd max age for politicians. I agree. Good luck on that, Mac. Again, Democrat is just a word. I agree. Anyone with pro-white ideology sucks and shouldn't really oh, okay. Goodbye.
I hope you're referring to WTW
Oh yeah.
when you say goodbye. Good, good, good. About time. Should have happened yesterday with the nutty comments they were making.
But he's gone for good. He ain't coming back. Again, the Democratic Party is just a corporation. The people that have to register with a party in order to vote in primaries are not Democrats. They're people that are required to register because we have a two-party system with one of two parties in order to actually do anything, get any real change. Doesn't matter what name they call themselves. They just change the name. No, independent isn't a party. Only two parties can ever exist in our current system until we get rid of the Electoral College and change ourselves to a real multi-party system. You can register as an independent. It just really means unaffiliated in most states. I'm not registered as an independent in North Carolina. I'm registered as an unaffiliated. It means I'm not registered with either party officially. Doesn't mean anything. Election integrity, there already is election integrity. Goodbye. Which candidate has the most integrity? Candidate for what? Build infrastructure for more factories and jobs. That's what I'll do. Factories won't, unless we're sitting here presidency, there are no candidates for presidency right now. Did I miss anything? Oh, die. It has been a blast up here today. That's what I get for asking a question above my head, is because I'm getting some weird stuff. Some of them are great. Some of them are just weird. We already have road and bridge fixes full speed ahead. We've always had road and bridge fixes full speed ahead.
Wonder, are you talking about perhaps removing some of the impediments, the regulatory impediments, so that we can build roads and bridges less expensively? I think that's what you're getting at.
Like,
But
not like furries, weird. Department of Transportation. The Department of Transportation doesn't fix all roads. No more roundabouts? I love roundabouts. They're so much better.
oh, not me.
Yeah,
They're death traps here in New Jersey.
Oh, I know. Northeast roundabouts are death traps because they squeeze too much stuff in there. And most of the roads in the Northeast were built off of cow paths, so it's like it's a complete mess. Down here, they do too many lights and not enough rotaries, not enough roundabouts. And every time they put a roundabout in, it makes things so much smoother.
Amen, Chaz. Very good. Very Chaz and
Old
chat.
ass electrical grid. Yep.
Yeah, couldn't agree with Chaz more.
DOT is the absolute most powerful entity. They definitely help make it so we can keep going places.
That's an intelligent comment, Noah. Thank you. Jesus Christ.
Di, you're welcome to come up and join us in the crazy if you would like. But I know you had your live this morning, so you may not be up for it. Add me. I got some great things to contribute. I don't know you. And Citizens United. I would love to make a constitutional amendment to take money out of politics.
Amen, Vazden. Couldn't agree with you more.
Add construction bases in. So again, look, as someone who has worked in vocational work before, we don't take care of our people who work in vocational work very well. Most of the people I know that have done that work in construction or whatever end up like being unable to move practically by the time they're in their 50s. And that just doesn't feel like a job that anyone should want to do. And what are we doing to take care of them and make it possible for an actual long life if you're spending yeah.
I've got a question too, though. Who remembers when the campaign for Mr. Orange, I don't remember what state it was. They're like, you closed down the mines to the government. You closed it down. We want to go back in. We want to go get coal. That was great for our families and our society. So they actually wanted to go and pull the coal and do all of that, which is so physically harmful and so on. But that was like a selling point for Orange. That was a selling point. He's like, we're going to open up all your mines. You're going to be able to go in and do whatever you want for clean coal. And I just found it a fascinating moment in time.
They wanted the jobs.
that was interesting, Di. That was the 2016 campaign. Now, let's flash forward to what happened in Trump's first term. More coal mines closed than under any other president. So he didn't accomplish his goal, to put it mildly.
Yep. I mean, the fact is the places where he was talking about reopening them were places in little cities and towns that were like dying because no other work was there. It was a mining town, and all they heard was, we're going to have work again. That's the other thing that we do a horrible job of. We take away things that are dangerous, and understandably so, for people, and we do no actual work to help bring something else to that area so a town can survive.
Well, that predates Trump, and it's not really about coal. It was really about NAFTA. And NAFTA had a lot of good things to it. And at the time of its enactment, they were aware of the economic dislocation in America, and they didn't do anything to alleviate that.
Yeah.
And that, you know, politically speaking, that is what cost the Democrats the working class vote.
Perhaps, but I would say too, it is showing how badly people just want to work. Like they don't care. They don't care if it's going to give them a disease 10 years down the road. It's like today I need to put some grub on my table.
Yeah.
And without coming in and offering other options, I can be like, okay, fine. They're like, it sucks. Coal mining is like one of the hardest jobs ever in this whole stinking country.
Yeah.
And if they're willing to do that because they can't survive otherwise, like there's something going on.
I mean,
that is just
it's as bad as what we do to undocumented immigrants, where we pay them absolutely nothing because they will take any work in order to survive. It's the same general gist idea. It's akin to I almost want to say it's akin to slavery, because when you take away something from them and you're using the fact that they just need to survive in order to get them to do some of the worst stuff possible, that's pretty shitty.
I think it definitely hints at that issue. The thing with the slavery, though, is everybody knows what's going on, right? Both
Yeah.
the person that's being an indentured servant, as well as the person having another person that way. So everybody's on the same page. But here, I don't think we're all on the same page. I think the government is over here and spitting the lies, and the people are like, I don't care what you're saying, just give me some money that I can work for.
Yeah. It's true.
Oh, by the way, we do need unions, and I wasn't sure if everybody realized there was an executive order that came in that said all federal work, all federal things will not agree to any collective bargaining agreement. So the executive order basically outlawed collective bargaining and following the rules on that, along with a whole bunch of other things. But our unions have taken a huge freaking hit. I'm still waiting for the collective bargaining issue to come forward because, you know, that's incredibly important for the entire country. And if they don't go in and fix that, I don't know. Right now they're in discovery. I'm like, can you move it along? Can you move it along, please? Collective bargaining, that's like one of the pillars of our workforce.
But Di, that is the collective bargaining executive order has to do with the federal government workforce, not the private sector, correct?
I think it says anyone covered by federal law.
Yeah, I don't think an executive order can affect the private sector marketplace like that.
Well, for that, I'm not 100% sure on. I do know, though, they're pulling, all of the unions are suing for this. They're suing because of it.
Well,
So if it's federal jobs, or if which is what I thought it was, anything that gets federal money, federal jobs, all of those things. And some of our unions are just of federal employees, and they have also been filing just for all the firings. So my assumption would be those collective bargaining agreements at the federal level, sure, but then what's going to happen at the state level? Because a lot of states like what the EO is doing, and so we could get there as well.
Dave, a vast And when I say vast, I mean a vast majority of people on that are part of welfare programs work.
Yeah, duh.
The
Who
problem,
keeps talking about this crap that's so ignorant?
people that I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Again, Di, they're just grasping to come up with talking
Mm.
points because on the major issues they have nothing to say. They can't talk about the cost of living. They can't talk about the cost of healthcare. They can't talk about the cost of housing. They can't talk about the fact that we've lost manufacturing jobs when Biden added 2.23 million jobs in his last year in office. They can't talk about any of that. So they come up with this.
Oh, you're right.
It's also not forever. Folks go on it for a time and legally can't stay on it forever. True.
Yep. I mean, in the paperwork alone, to fill out everything and all of your information, I mean, it's basically like every single thing that you've done in your whole life, you write down and have others agree whether or not you're worthy of getting some assistance.
And that's by design, Di.
Mm-hmm.
That was by design in the big beautiful bill. They would eliminate these people from the rolls on Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, et cetera, based upon overwhelming them with paperwork, knowing that most people would get frustrated and give up. A particularly cruel way to call the rolls.
I would agree. I would agree. Won't they eventually come and take your what? What are you talking about, Tilo? What you saying? If people are really poor, can't afford to eat, won't they come eventually come and take your stuff?
I think they're saying if the reason that poor people steal is because that's their only option for survival.
Okay.
That's my I mean, Tila's been here for a while. That's my guess as to what they're saying. People get desperate. Yes.
Got it. Got it. Well, and that's a true story. I mean, of course, that's when you've gone like a week, well, 3 to 4 days, and you have not had any food, and then you start to get desperate. And sometimes it's like turning into a bit of a different person, Jekyll and Hyde. Like, hey, everything's okay, but now I've gone 5 days, I've got no food. I can't even think straight. I can't sleep. There's nowhere safe for me to sleep. I mean, this is a problem that just rolls into a huge issue with a lot of people because of that.
Exactly, Di. If one takes a look at the French Revolution in 1789, the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917, the fall of the Weimar Republic in 1933, um, a large part of all of those things was food insecurity.
It's called cutting out fraud. It's not cutting out fraud. This administration has added more fraud and waste and abuse than any fraud before it. They literally are the epitome of waste, fraud, and abuse.
It's so true. It is so true. If you look back over the decades, you do not have a president coming in and asking for a $1 billion slush fund, right? There are so many things going on with these lawsuits, just setting out which constitutional amendments are being violated because of this kind of bullshit. This idea of fraud just drives me crazy. And there was a judge too, I think, I can't remember if it was Colorado or Michigan, and she said, you know what? Because Trump was saying, well, if it's for fraud, then we don't need the Constitution anymore. And what the judge was saying is, no, I don't think you understand. There's a fundamental misunderstanding of what fraud is. And for me, I have no idea how people are going to learn about it because they're just so angry. They're like, oh, it's fraud. We don't care. I'm like, that's an actual crime. People not arresting other people for fraud. Like, what's going on?
Who would you vote for, Abdul El Sayed or Haley Stevens in Michigan? If I was living in Michigan, I would vote for Abdul El Sayed. I firmly believe that a majority of the people in Congress at this point just need to go. There is fraud. There aren't any kids at the learning. Oh my.
Okay, deep breaths. All right.
It's been a wild day.
It sounds like it. Hey, listen up. The people at the Learning Center, what are you talking about? What's the curriculum at the Learning Center? And typically, both parents, if they're together, one can stay home with the kid or go to work, and all you are paying for is daycare because daycare is very expensive. So you go to work, you're like, okay, here it is, let's do it. And then all your money goes to the daycare. So why are they in learning resources places? Well, first of all, I don't think you really even know what the H that means. But second of all, just by glancing at it, like who the H knows? Did you do any investigation? Or are you just trying to be a dumbass?
Chances are they're talking about that thing that happened in Minnesota with Nick Shirley, Butt-assy, whatever his name is. Why should taxpayers pay for your child's daycare? Because it allows people to work.
Well, and I don't think it matters when you're talking. Yeah, why have kids? Good question, Wonder Bread. But hey, yeah, let's go back to Minnesota. I look at a lot of things a little bit differently. They're coming in, they're doing fraud, and you're like, oh my gosh, look, they're so corrupt and they're so awful. All right, fine. They took care of business. Why aren't we moving on from that? Why aren't we moving forward? Is this the only situation that you think there's fraud in? And if not, let's keep going forward. And the system works, right? Because the fraudsters were caught.
That's
And
exactly
also pay your own. Let me just say something here, Dave. Let me just say something to you, right? Pay your own. What does that even mean? What the H does that even mean? I mean, if you're getting paid what, $4, $5 an hour, what the frick are you talking about?
So don't
Look,
have kids.
Minnesota proved that the system actually works
Yep.
because they caught the people who were committing fraud. You're
Exactly.
going to have fraud in a massive $8 trillion government. You're going to have fraud. But the issue is who is assigned within the government to ferret out waste, fraud, and abuse? Why? That's the inspectors general. And what did Trump do? He fired them
Yeah,
and
they're
didn't
gone.
replace them. So how serious is Mr. Trump, of all people, concerned about waste, fraud, and abuse? And of course, I might add that Mr. Trump has collected $2.2 billion in his first year alone as president of the United States. There's a place to look for a little bit of waste and fraud, isn't there?
The president pardoned drug kings, drug lords. The president pardoned someone who committed fraud and then was arrested for committing fraud again and then pardoned them again. Don't sit here and pretend you guys care about fraud and holding people accountable when you won't do it for your own people. No, that
And
is
Mike-
the topic. That's the problem. The problem is you guys will gladly point at anybody that you don't like that does fraud, but you will not hold your own side accountable when they do it. You're literally willing to completely ignore it because they're saying what you want to hear. I don't give a rat's ass what letter is next to your name. I don't care how good of a person you pretend to be. If you commit fraud, you should go to prison. If you help people that commit fraud, knowingly help them commit fraud, you should go to prison. I don't give a rat's ass what letter is at the behind next to your name. This whole identity politics bullshit that you guys come out with and go, oh, Tim Walz. You don't care about the fraud. You're just sitting here going, Tim Walz, look, we got a Democrat. Oh, this is the best thing ever. You're not holding your side accountable? We absolutely are. We absolutely are. Let's see. Someone came out. It came out that someone in Congress who was running for governor in California was a grapist. What happened? They're gone. Came out that someone who was running for Senate in Maine was a grapist. He was gone. You don't care that the president was found liable of being a grapist. You could give a rat's ass.
And Mike, there's something that isn't talked about as Trump lets these fraudsters out of jail, and that's been the majority of his pardons. As he lets these fraudsters out of jail, there's an even more insidious crime being committed here, and that's that they now don't have to pay back the people that they defrauded. So the people who got defrauded get screwed.
Dave, I'm sure these two lawyers can, if you don't understand what I'm about to say, I'm sure they can go a little farther. So there's this thing called criminal court and civil court. In civil court, they can't call it grape because grape is a criminal act. So in civil court, they call it SA. But the judge in that court said that what he did was grape, but it was a civil court. So he could only be found liable of the SA. If he was in criminal court, he would have been found guilty of grape.
Yeah, well said. Perfect.
Yeah, we have nothing to add. That's exactly the perfect definition of it, Mike.
Yep. Now, also, this is the moment where I like to interject. Just, a public announcement here. Statistics are showing 1 in 3 women will be SA'd in some manner, right? 1 in 3. And then if you go and look at our prisons at the number of people who've been convicted of SAs or things in those in that area are not correct. They do not match up with the numbers of victims we have. So what does this mean? It means they're all still out there. They're either getting found not guilty in court or they're rich enough to buy everything off. But if you think for 1 minute, like a third of the male population out there isn't kind of hunting for something, I think you would be doing a disservice to your own safety.
Dave, you are sitting here in chat defending someone who was found liable for grape. Do you hear yourself? You are either against it or you are okay with it. When you defend someone who was found liable of the grape, you are okay with it. You sit here and you bring up Biden while actively defending someone who was found guilty. What part of your brain cannot understand it? I'm not lying. He was found liable of SA. Doesn't matter what you believe about whether or not she knew enough to go to a criminal court. Regardless, there are other things around that, but it doesn't matter whether you believe it. He was found guilty. So you either care about it or you don't care about it.
My question too is, do you not believe in the court system then? Are you going to say he was found liable because the jury was bad, the system was bad, the judge wasn't fair to him, all of the documents were bad, our entire legal system was bad because this one man was found to be liable for SA? So we can throw out the entire legal system, right?
Dave just answered it's because he's not a sissy boy. I think we've heard enough of these inane comments, but it's up to you.
Yep.
Wait, I just gave the greatest speech of my entire life here. I just did. Like, someone needs to write that shit down so I can say it again, because that was some of my best work.
I already did, Di.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
You will be immortalized.
Great, excellent. We love that.
At the Lincoln Memorial.
Well, let's wait to take it there.
When Trump gets done with it, it'll probably be the Lincoln Memorial and casino.
Because the current president of the United States has more proof of being a grifter, a grapist, an SAer, a fraud, an abuser than anybody else probably on this planet. Not just since he was president. We're talking before.
Mike, they don't care. They just don't care.
Well, and I think part
They'll
of
say,
it,
let's talk about Tim Walz.
well, and part of it, I think, of the not caring is because, again, back to my amazing speech I gave, is because you know what? They do it too. They do it too. They essay the people as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so for them, they have to have some kind of a hero who's an essayer to make it okay for them to do that kind of harm to other people.
Exactly, Di. That's why Dave said, well, Trump's not a sissy boy,
And
meaning that you're a real man if you commit essay. Jesus Christ. That is the most Neanderthal type thinking I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, I agree with you. I'm sick of socialism being framed as free stuff. Yeah, it's not free. We know it's not free. That's not the point. That's not what it is. I want to say this because this is the part that dang it, I lost it.
It'll come back around. It'll come back around.
Hey, Mike, while you think of your thought, can I talk about your video that you posted yesterday?
Yeah.
You know, folks, I realize that everybody has limited time for social media. I understand that. I really do. Mike over on the Tube posts interviews with different candidates. And I know a lot of you don't have the time to listen to them all. Fair enough. I would strongly encourage you to just watch one if you haven't seen it yet. And that is his interview with Adam Dunnigan, who is running for the Congress in Virginia's 8th District. Mike, that was the best I've ever seen you. That was the most informative video I've seen on this app, period, by anybody. I can't encourage you all enough just to watch that video. It's 40 minutes long, and if you're interested in the Iran war, a little background of Mr. Dunnigan, he is a graduate of Harvard University's. He got a master's at Harvard University in international relations. And I can't emphasize enough, he lays out the Iran war and where we need to go from here better than anybody I've ever heard. So it's worth listening to.
He's also a former Marine and former CIA case officer.
Yes.
So he has experience with the IRGC.
Well, he was his job at the CIA, I believe he said, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, was his main job at the CIA was studying the IRGC.
I think so. I don't remember exactly, but I think so.
Yeah, or maybe I read his biography on Wikipedia. It said that. It doesn't matter. This guy's an expert. Let's put it to you that way. If he doesn't know it, nobody does.
Yep.
And it's so well worth your 40 minutes to listen to that interview that Mike did yesterday.
It was a really good conversation, and I'm glad he was able to take time. I said it in the beginning of the video, and I'm going to say it here. There are certain people that are running right now that. So I went to Virginia at the end of June, where you can find over on the Tube, Emerald Eye. There's a link in my bio, or you can just go over to the Tube and type in Breaking the Meta, and the same image that's here will pop up. I went to Virginia, and I got to meet Adam and Elizabeth Dempsey Beggs, who's running in the 1st district, and Tim, never say his last name correctly. I'm not going to butcher it on here. Who's also running the 1st district. And I got to sit down and talk with them for a good hour. I mean, there was a bunch of people there, but I got to sit and talk with each one of them for a good hour. And I've never met someone, and I can say this about other people too that I've gotten to interact with. There are a bunch of people that are running for office that have made it through their primaries, or probably will make it through the primaries, that care in a way that we have not seen, that I haven't seen in my lifetime. Now, obviously, I cannot say it as much when I was younger because I wasn't interacting with them as much, with politics in general. But these people, I know how tired they are. I've interacted with enough people that are running right now to know can't run government on feelings. It's not, and actually we all run government on feelings, by the way, because, but anyways, these people care to a level that no one ever has, in my opinion. And they are willing and are doing the work in a way that I have never seen a politician do. And what's the name? It's the same name, Jay. It's the same name. So Breaking the Meta, technically called Breaking the Meta Podcast, but if you type in Breaking the Meta, it should pop up. And like, and I want to make this, I want to give you an idea of, and I'm going to use the 1st District of Virginia as the example. There are multiple people running in that. There's like 7 or 8 people technically running in the primary. And I know at least 3 of them that have specifically said that they're going to run against them, but they're actually friends with each other. And they would also be technically happy and support and be excited if these other people got it. And that's not something that we see. I mean, you hear in this interview where the person who's running as an incumbent actually said in a big meeting with a bunch of, there was a ton of people there. And both of them were speaking, and the incumbent said, "If you're not going to vote for me, vote for Adam." Straight up. That's not something we're used to seeing. And
It did used to be that way, though, a while ago.
It did. But a lot of the people that are voting right now aren't used to seeing that. From at least not, they may hear it if you happen to be one of the lucky ones that get to, you know, interact in person, but they don't really hear it. It's not something that they get to experience very often. And we don't experience it in life very often. But like most people are very focused on themselves. And if other people look like, if it feels like they are losing, even if it's a tiny bit that doesn't really affect them, and they see someone else who they think, you know, gaining, there's this crazy amount of almost jealousy to the point. It's like the idea of, you know, it's weakness to admit you're wrong. It's the same general idea. And we do it with everything right now. And we've got to, this is why I say, this is why the frustration that we have with, that I have with with society and the way we interact. We are sitting here fighting. We have people coming in that are complaining about fraud, while the current president that they voted for 3 times is
Convicted.
committing fraud, was convicted and is committing fraud currently. They say they're against, you know, they go after, they complain about rapists on one side, and then literally do not do anything to protect, or do not do anything against people that have been literally found guilty of it. They talk about wanting accountability for people as long as they're Democrats, but don't get angry when people that have literally done all of those horrible things that have been found guilty of it get pardoned by this president. All politicians commit fraud. Prove it. Prove it. That's not the point. The point is we're not willing to actually hold them accountable. It doesn't matter. The Dems do the exact same thing. Vote red. See,
What
Bob,
thing?
you don't
What?
care. You don't care. The fact that you
Oh,
literally said straight up vote red means the
yep.
problem is not fraud.
So Midnight Voice, guess what? We've got to be, are you talking here to us? Because mine's private so that people don't come after me. Because they're getting out of prison after I put them in prison. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. Socialism, Jesus Christ. You need to get some cards to hold up. Like, this is actually what socialism is. This is what
He's
other things are.
He's talking about the guy Made to Measure, I think. Yeah, he's talking about Made to Measure.
Okay. All right. Because at this point, there's been so many dang trolls. I'm ready to go. But I don't want to hurt friendlies, everybody. All right. So just make sure if I'm like coming for you, just be like, I'm friendly. I'm friendly. All right. We need that. Thank you very much.
And guys, if you don't follow Attorney Di, please make sure you do. This morning she was going over what case were you going over this morning? I can't remember.
This was the university professors.
Okay.
Where they're trying to say stop threatening that you're going to pull all federal money if we don't agree with you.
Gotcha. So yeah, if you're interested in getting a deeper dive into some of these cases, she's the one to do it. She's the one to follow. I've seen you going live early in the morning lately. Is that just a new time, or is that just for right now?
Well, let's see. I kind of go in. All right. Hold on. Okay. All right. No, I'm ready. Okay. So my schedule is very, very unusual.
Gotcha.
I'm usually working in about 3-hour time periods. And if I've got evening that works the best, then I'll go. And I'm finding those really early in the mornings good because I'm kind of knocked out by noon.
Gotcha.
So can't guarantee any time other than sometime.
Gotcha. So just follow her and then you can see when she's live, which is what I do. So I see her on, I say, oh, Di's on, time to go get on.
Get some learning.
Yep.
Get some learning in their brain.
Yep. I mean, so here's the thing. Here's the thing about the idea of abolishing prisons. I think there needs to be accountability when people do stuff. I think we need to abolish prisons the way we look at prison system right now. And I think the prison system is corrupt right now. So it's just like the idea of abolishing ICE. Do I think that we need to have people who help enforce the laws? Of course we do. What's the point of having any laws if there's not going to be people to enforce them? But what they have turned into is something that needs to be gotten rid of. So whatever it needs to turn into, that's a different story. But yeah, we need to abolish. No one deserves to be jailed for. You don't think someone should be jailed for unaliving someone else?
Yeah, you're kind of being a weirdo, Sobe. What's going on with that? Ooh, can I jump in real quick
Yeah.
and give you a historical thing when it comes to prisons?
Yeah.
We invented the current system of prisons, where you've got the spokes, but you've also got the single cells. And if you go back to Philadelphia, it was the Quakers that said everybody just needs to think about what they've done wrong. So tiny little rooms, and everyone, you just sit there and you had a Bible. And then there was a door, and you can go outside about 3 feet and come back in. But you saw nobody else for 25 years, and you needed to get yourself sorted out with God. I don't think that was a great style. So they moved it. But our prison system is jacked up, and there's really the only way to, in my opinion, turn this around is to stop everybody. And I'm seeing this constantly. I have so much I want to say in this sentence. But listen, everybody out there, when we're going through the Trump cases, we're going through accountability for everyone. What's everybody saying? They're saying, send him to prison, send him to prison. Everybody goes to prison. Well, guess what? We're at a point now where we can't just put everybody in prisons because our prisons can't have it. So what we did from the 80s into, well, today really, is everyone would say my number one punishment is they go to prison. Now look back and see what's happened since the 80s. You know, that was where the shift was. So if you just want to build bigger houses or bigger containers, that's a lot different than prisons. I mean, right now, and let me just say this, and then I'm going to stop monologuing, but right now, my number one fear, the people I worry about the most in the legal system are the prison guards. I'm not going to lie, those every single day they go in, they're like one person instead of 10, which is how it should be. And they're trying to handle all of the other people there. So for me, I just feel like they are just praying every day in order to make it through their shift because it's just not workable what we're doing right now.
I'm
And
sure
thank you, TED
I'm-
Talk.
I'm sure it affects their ability to do any job. Because again, as we've seen, fear causes people to do some pretty crappy things. Whether they're good people or bad people, it always still comes down to fear and how people react to it, which is never usually pretty good. But yeah, you know, again, how did we get here? How can we fix a lot of it? Stop having so many of these things be commodities, be for profit. Healthcare, housing, prison system.
I would add in too, not having the mandatory minimum prison sentence for everybody. If you have somebody with one, wacky tobacco thing, you can go into prison in my state. That's still set out that way. Or even if it's like a fingernail of the DRUGSs, we don't want that, right? But if you're putting them into prison for 20 years, mandatory, I mean, we've got like a fingernail of a bad substance, and that's what it's going to be. That's what the judges have been screaming about for years are the mandatory minimums.
Yeah.
So you want to give judges more discretion?
Person by person, yes. And I think
Absolutely.
the best way
Absolutely.
too to look at it, Scott, would be the RICO case down in Georgia with Trump. They had like what 19 people involved in that, but they all were involved in different ways. But if you're found guilty, you have mandatory minimum 5 years prison.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing else you can do.
No, you're right. No, and I agree. I understand the reason that the mandatory minimums came about. It was an overreaction, and I think it hasn't worked out, and we should revisit that. I couldn't agree with you more, Di.
3 strike and you're out system is so American and dumb. And again, the problem still comes down to, in my mind, we put these things in place, but we don't actually do anything to look at the problem in the first place. Like, if we don't, it's like the idea of any of these things that happen in this country that we're against. You know, we can make every law that we want. We can make any law that we want. But if we don't actually do any work to look at the actual underlying issues that cause some of these problems, we're not going to actually fix them. Yeah, but if you're there for a third time, but the reason, let's say it's stealing food. Well, if you're if the way our society is set up is that these people have no way of getting out of the poverty that they're in, they're going to keep stealing.
And Keith, I do understand where your comment's coming from. I get it. I understand that. But all we're asking, we're not saying don't punish them. We're asking give the judges discretion, because each case is an individual case. And when you have mandatory minimums, you're stripping a piece of equity away from the judge, and who can take that into consideration. That's all we're saying. We're not talking cut people loose no matter what. Nobody's saying that.
Well,
Exactly. Let the
We're talking about
punishment.
giving judges discretion for, let's use your example, Keith, a third time stealing food. That's a little bit different than a third time mugging someone. There's a difference, and you've got to be able to give judges a little bit of discretion to take into account individual factors on a case by case basis.
Yep, yep. And what I've noticed too, just looking through the criminal statutes, there's all kinds of stuff in there. There's all kinds of stuff. And the question then, does the punishment fit the crime? And that I think we've lost sight of that. I think we don't care what the punishment is as long as they're going to prison
and
without actually looking and seeing what actually happened here.
and are we addressing why, like, if this person is stealing food, and this person has been trying to get a job, has been trying to do all of the things necessary in order to make it possible to not have to do it, but we have a system that doesn't allow this person to get out of where they're at. Why? Like, we can't hold them to those same standards.
I would put into that a lot of the something to think about when we're talking about this issue itself, not having enough or needing to steal what you need, is to look at the children. The children who are under 18 and they don't get food from their family, they don't have any close to where to school. They're lucky if they can sleep outside in order to be safe. So those are also people who are trying to find
Sure.
food and live, and we mustn't forget about the children.
Which is why we keep pushing for the idea of making sure every child is fed who goes to school. Give all the kids free freaking food. It's the easiest thing we can do to give kids the best possible chance of succeeding.
Yeah, the best possible chance of learning. There have been study after study after study that have shown that a hungry child doesn't learn very well. It's an investment, and it's not a very big investment, but it's an investment that really pays off for society as a whole. I couldn't agree with you more, Mike.
Breakfast and lunch, Keith.
Absolutely. Why not? Why not breakfast and lunch?
There's a reason they say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's not because it's and that's the crazy thing, and that's the part that drives me absolutely batshit. These people that are against that kind of stuff, when you say you care about, and this comes back to the right or wrong thing that I talked about before. You either care or you don't. You say you care about the children. You say you care about children. Well, then show you care about children. You say it's not about race. Well, then don't sit here and say, or don't sit here and say these things, and then everything you do after shows you don't. You either care or you don't. Can I get an opinion from the other people in your call? In China, they put corrupted politicians to be unalived, and the people that have affected a large community was also unalived. No matter how influential they were, they got deleted. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think we want to model the American penal system after China.
The other thing too is we don't have billions of people over here. So what it is that they're doing in the country there is for like 2 billion people. Like conceptually, you just can't compare the American system to the Chinese system unless you understand that they're dealing with 1 billion people.
And again, I think there's always nuance to everything. That's pretty much what we're talking about here. As a country, we should not do anything we should not be black and white about things. Sherman, they're not communists in China, by the way. I'm just
They're full of communists. Fuck them. Okay.
Yeah, what's with the
Tell us
communists,
how you
Scott?
really feel.
like they're literally
Exactly.
not. If you actually understood what the hell communism was, you would know that they were not. No, they're not.
Jeepers creepers, people. There's the Google. You can use the Google.
I have an education, and we've also got 2 lawyers here who know more than you, Joseph. Guaranteed.
Joseph, they are a one-party dictatorship that economically is certainly not communist. But
Exactly.
they use the word communist because that's how they won the revolution. So they've stuck with calling themselves the Communist Party. But economically, China's not run like a communist nation.
I have a quick story that I used to talk about China and what their laws are over there. Who remembers right after the C-19, that first year, people were like, everyone was quarantining or whatever. China was the last one to open the door, right? I think they had quarantined for like 3 years. Does anyone remember that? And then there was this uprising of
Sure.
people on the street. Do you remember?
Yes, very well.
Okay. Just making sure here. So what I thought was fascinating, of course, people were getting taken away and they will never return home. But one of the ones that was able to be filmed was a person who was out in the street. They weren't saying anything because if you say anything, you'll get taken and, unalived. And so they can't say anything when they're protesting. They can't make it seem like it's a protest. So what they did was they had a blank sheet of paper and they went out into the streets and they said, basically, I mean, because they couldn't talk, they basically were like, this sheet of paper, you all know what this means, but I don't want to get caught and unalived. So here's my sheet of paper with no words. And for me, that was a moment that really reminded me of the kind of control of the kind of government that they have in China. I'm not a huge fan, but I also don't have a billion people. But I also don't want to be holding up a blank sheet of paper, letting people know, like, my brother and sister have unalived because we don't have any food.
Joseph, yes, you're correct that they are a one-party state ruled by the Chinese Communist Party. That is correct. But what we're saying is that the Chinese Communist Party, they're using the word communist as a fig leaf because that's how Mao Zedong founded the revolution in China that knocked out Chiang Kai-shek in 1949. So they're no longer a communist economy. They've long since given up on that.
Sorry, I got a question over on Twitch. Commission outside the U.S. government. So I've got a thing up on the top of on the tube that says, or on my other stream that says, we should make a commission outside U.S. government to hold all politicians accountable. And this person asked accountable for what? So an ethics board. So right now, like, our Congress has an internal ethics board, and our commission, and our Supreme Court doesn't have an ethics anything. And I think there needs to be an outside group, an outside committee, something that cannot be started or stopped, or like hell, if it's constitutionally funded, whose their job is when an ethics complaint comes in, they're overseeing it. When something happens, it's their job to investigate. They have authority that cannot be overridden by politicians, by people in the government who would.
So, Mike, what you're talking about then is like having a national ombudsman for Congress.
Sure.
And other federal agencies.
Sure.
Okay.
Who would hold the commission itself accountable?
It's a nightmare when you start setting it out. I mean, you got to make it work, though.
Yeah, but I mean, again, are we looking for perfection, or are we looking for starting to work on the problems that we have? Right now, our problem is that nobody in Congress is willing to actually not only hold themselves, but hold the other people that they are supposed to be holding accountable for things that are happening. We need to do something. We can put in a statement in there that says after so many years, like you can put in things in the design of it that can help protect, help protect from, regulate it to the point where they're not, that it's harder to abuse the power on it. And you can put things in it that say after so many years, we have to take a look and see if this has worked, and not get rid of it, but make changes to it that can help make it better. Like the problem that I have right now that I see with a lot of people is we say we need to fix things, and then when people say, oh, we should do this, we should do these because this is a problem, and the response is always, well, who's going to hold them accountable? And it's like, well, is the answer going to be tuning in from the UK? No worries, Low Gardner. And I know that UK's got different things that is, but in the end, if we don't try things, nothing will get fixed. So again, for me, this comes down to is it an issue? If it's an issue, we need to try something. If we don't try anything, we're not going to fix the issue. It's just going to keep going.
I agree. I would even add to that too. Part of fixing the issue is what we're doing right now with a lot of the rules that they're trying to set out that are finding loopholes and that are weak spots within the law. Right now, I feel like we're kind of trying out the rules from, a decade ago or 2 decades ago, and we're finding some of them don't work. So we need new rules. We need different rules because we can see the aftermath of what's happened.
What do I mean by try? Okay. If we say that we have a problem, that our government, our federal government, the politicians and administration in our federal government and governmental workers, however you want to put it, are not being held accountable. If we say that is a problem, and the current system that we have set up to fix that problem isn't working, and I would say it's not right now. There is no actual oversight to hold for accountability of members of Congress, especially. Because right now, Congress is in charge of ethics complaints, of investigating their own ethics complaint, and the only way to get rid of them is the Congress doing it too. Those are the only ways. So Congress, the expectation at that point is Congress is actually going to be ethical. And right now, we've shown that that doesn't work. The only ways, yes, those are the only ways that you can, that someone, and even the ethics committee doesn't actually have any power to get rid of anyone in Congress. All they have the power to do is give the report to Congress, and then Congress still is the only one that can can expel someone from Congress. That's not naive. That's the law. That's how our Congress is set up. The only way to expel someone from Congress is for Congress to be willing to do it themselves. That's it. Or them step down. Technically, that is a way too. But that's it. Or not alive anymore. So yeah. If the current method is not working, then we need to try something different. We need to try something different. And for me, the only way to be able to truly hold a group accountable is someone from the outside actually doing it. Someone whose job, whose livelihood, whose existence is not is not dependent on the people that they're supposed to be investigating in the first place. Who is that exactly? Again, idealism. No, that's called literally how society has worked since the dawn of its existence. It's not idealism. Am I looking, is it going to be perfect? No. Is it going to be better? Yes, it is. Literally, that's how society works. You see a problem, you put something together to try and fix it. What do you think we do? We just throw something out there and say, well, that's the best we can do. Might as well not do anything else. Yep. Slavery exists. Nothing else we can do. Come on. No, that's
I
not.
agree. I agree.
No, it's
Hey, real
called
quick.
it's called progress.
Wait, is he British?
Mike,
Because I think that's progress.
Mike, there's about 100 countries already have independent ombudsmen for their government, and I think it's not a bad idea to look into.
America.
We could. I did a live maybe a year ago where I had the whole chat draft for me these kinds of questions and put it into the Constitution, and we wrote a new Constitution.
Yeah, I heard that.
And well, yeah, and of course, because I'm amazing. No.
Yes, you
Listen.
are. Don't you know? Disagree.
Well, when we're talking about judges, that's a pain in the keister to try to figure out what we're going to do. Do we need a bigger court? Do we need a better system of putting them in? Do we want to use the Missouri plan? What's going on? There's a lot of different things in there. And it's really interesting how people feel. I would say the number one thing that people get frustrated with is age. Like, how can you stay on a bench so long until basically, forever? And then leave. The age thing was a big thing. So we did 20 years after retirement age. So 20 years after 65, or was it, no, 10 years. I can't remember. Nobody wanted to do it, but I was like, okay, let's do that. But then there's also the questions of who's going to do this ethics roundup. And here's what the master plan was. We were going to get retired judges and retired professors of legal ethics. And we were going to put them on a rotating schedule, right? So just like our juries, we're like, okay, 3 months, these judges, these persons are on call for SCOTUS ethics complaints. And then the next 3 months come and it's like another batch. So like once a year, if you are part of the committee, you'd be showing up, but then it'd be this rotating scale. So nobody could like overpower it with one party or the other. Isn't that an amazing plan? I thought it was amazing.
E.T., I might remind you, as I said before, over 100 countries already have independent ombudsmen. So what Mike is proposing is not exactly some whack job theory.
And
the ombudsmen started in the 19th century and have spread throughout, especially the Nordic countries in Europe. They've spread throughout the world. This is not a new idea Mike is coming up with. This is what's been talked about for quite some time. And other countries have implemented it. So I'm not even sure, as you indicated, that you would need a constitutional amendment to get one.
And I'm saying it's not idealism. It's how society works. It's how every society. Why won't you just have me up? Because I don't bring up people I don't know. It is how society works. It's how every society has worked. Show me one society that hasn't changed and looked at things and said, how can we do things different? So argue against a straw man. No, we're arguing against you.
What?
You're sitting here talking just fine. That's broad to the point of irrelevant. Oh my gosh.
I think he's a bot.
I don't know if he's a bot, but he doesn't
Yeah.
actually care about conversation.
Oh, is he driving? Oh, he's drinking.
I'm
You're
just
not a
correct.
bit?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, you're just correct. Well, if you say so.
I talk to 100 of your kind every day, dude. You're not special.
I just know everything. I'm not even saying my way is perfect, but I'm saying we
Mine is.
got to do something. Literally,
Now,
we've done
I don't even
nothing for
remember.
decades.
I don't even remember what my plan was at this point. It was so long ago, but whatever it was an amazing speech. It's going to cause all of the people to get up and like fix their problems.
The idea of having a monarch is rather interesting, though. The concept of having a person raised from birth to be a leader and representative of their people isn't necessarily a bad one. And if they wanted a UK... See, I disagree. I disagree. The problem with the idea of a monarchy, and the reason I think it has no place in modern society, is there's this idea that just because you were raised to lead, just because you were born, doesn't mean you're a good leader. Doesn't mean you're actually worthy of being a leader.
Well, Mike, let's get to the basic here. If we were to have a monarch in our country, we no longer have a democracy.
That's also
It's a different form of government. By definition, a monarch raised to be the leader?
I don't think it'd even be possible. There's so much hate.
Talk about something that would be unworkable. That would be unworkable.
Well, not only that, Scott, but like the idea of a king, like people get super pissed off about that, as we saw at the protests. Like even just the word makes people angry. We're very anti-monarchy here, don't you think?
I actually disagree. A monarchy and a democracy cannot coexist.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, unless you're a constitutional monarch, like they have in Britain, and actually most countries that have monarchs now, they are constitutional monarchs.
Yeah.
In other words, they don't involve themselves in the political day-to-day travails of the nation.
Yeah, but that's not. I would argue that that's not. And I'm not talking to you, Scott. I'm talking to the person. I would argue that that's not really a monarchy. At that point, it's not like the monarchy of Britain has no authority really. They're over the Church of England, and that's really they're figureheads more than anything. And that's not. I mean, what does that actually bring us? What does that give us? What does what England does with their monarchy? What would that bring? What would that bring to help our country right now?
Well, particularly in the American instance, it wouldn't fly very well. It's how we were founded, was to get away from that.
Yeah.
Specifically, the British monarchy.
Well, was the British monarchy back at the creation of the country, was that more an absolute monarchy than a constitutional monarchy?
Yes.
Less absolute than it was before the Magna Carta, but still fairly absolute. Yes.
I think actually it tipped after the colonies, after we did form the, USA, such that that was kind of like the tipping point, in my opinion, for the monarchies. And that had more to do with the French than it did anything else.
Yeah, we weren't the big ticket item, despite what we want to remember. We weren't the big ticket item in 1776. The French were the big ticket item, according to the British.
Yay for the French.
But again, when I say a constitutional monarchy, that really is a figurehead. Yeah. It represents the nation emotionally, but not politically.
Well, look, did you know that Sweden has a king? I didn't realize that. I didn't know that Sweden had a king.
I mean,
Japan has an emperor.
True, but emperor, whatever. But a king? Are you kidding me?
A lot of countries in the EU still have a monarchy that doesn't have any actual authority still.
Yeah, it's more of a symbol for the people, and it was marginally popular. So that's the way they want to do it. I think that's fine.
Yeah,
but that's the only way you can have a democracy and still have a monarchy, is to neuter the monarchy in terms of the monarch's political power. And even over the Church of England, Mike, the king or queen doesn't have absolute power over them either. Yeah. They're the head of the Church of England, but that doesn't mean that they can dictate doctrine.
Right. the monarchy there becomes more of a national land trust. They do have quite a bit of land.
Oh yeah, I'm not implying that it isn't good to be the king. Yeah, it's pretty good to be the king. You get a lot of money.
All right, I was just looking up the King of Sweden, and I can't marry him. I mean, good for him, but he's super old. I mean, nothing wrong with being super old, but that's not really what I'm looking for in a relationship. So,
Yeah, yeah.
got a lot of medals, though.
I feel like the current kind of monarchies are basically goodwill ambassadors. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing, and this is the frustration that I've had during this day, but this is what's necessary. What makes a conversation is not just is being willing to be wrong. Like, why didn't I bring up the person? I don't even know if they're still here, because they just thought they were right. Like, they weren't even willing to actually like process anything that I was saying. They just decided that what I was saying was idealism. And because it was idealism, it was not worth listening.
Well, it's also hard to get called up when you're calling the host naive in every other sentence.
That too. But
I'm still looking for one of my followers down here in the chat where she had made a comment. I think it was the one that I was about ready to attack. And then she made a comment like, I'm one of your followers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where did she go? Because I wanted to say I was sorry that I attacked. But anyway, this is it's getting a little hairy here. Sorry.
it's okay. And this is the thing for everyone in here. We're talking about emotional things. We're talking about things that are not easy to discuss. They're not easy to fix. In the end, what we're doing here is not fixing the problems, because we by the very nature of, unless we are in government, cannot actually fix the problem per se. But how do we get problems fixed? So let's talk about changing that person who's seems no longer here asked, how do you change a constitution without fully change a constitution? You have a constitutional convention. How do you change how do you get a constitutional convention? You get technically it's 2/3 of the states, but in the end you need 3/4 of the states to be for it. Well, how do you, the way it currently is, yeah, that's not going to happen. But how do we get to a point where it could happen? We start paying attention. We start having these conversations with our neighbors, with our community, to the point that when someone runs for office who ends up being a part of that community and ends up running for state office, they're the kind of people that will end up ratifying a change. They're the kind of people that would end up calling a constitutional convention. They're the kind of people that would be able to make that happen. But none of it's going to happen if we don't have these conversations. All we're going to do is keep staying with the status quo. The status quo exists because we are looking for perfection instead of actual change. That's why it always frustrates me when people say, this will never happen, or this can't work. Thank you for the follow, Lagarde. And disagreeing is okay. Disagreeing is natural. Disagreeing is how we move forward. Because here's the reality. My experiences, Attorney Dye's experiences, Scott's experiences, Lo Gardner on Twitch's experience, Silver's on YouTube's experience. We've all had different experiences. Every one of our experiences color how we view society, how we view what ideas we can even have for change. It's like, if you never knew that planes existed, how would you know that you could get from Boston to California in what, 7 hours, 8 hours? If all you knew was a car, you didn't know, you never experienced a plane existed, then you would think that it would take weeks or a week or whatever it takes to drive. That's how a conversation works. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I think what we're doing here is so important. I think it's great when you come in with a different idea of how you can do it. But if you coming in with that idea also involves telling other people that, telling someone like me that my ideas are just stupid or idealism or I'm just naive, that's not a conversation. That ignores every ounce of research and reality and life experience that I've had that got me to where I am. That's why I don't just rail on Christians to the way some people have. For people that have been hurt by Christians, I understand exactly why you rail on. I understand exactly why you think Christianity shouldn't exist. I understand all of it. But I also understand why conservative Christians are the way they are, because I've lived it. And
I think too, Mike,
Yeah.
one of the most important things is that you offer a conversation rather than debate. And we really, really need that right now. We really need to have those conversations.
And they're going to hurt. Like you're gonna feel something here, and you're gonna wanna defend, you're gonna wanna fight back. Trust me, I feel it all the time. I do. Because again, no one wants to be uncomfortable. No one wants to consider a world where the future doesn't feel known. That's hard. That's a really hard thing for us to do. Like, talk about a future. Like, that's why I always say, when we talk about what's going on in the world right now and we talk about where it's going to go, we always try and say it from a perspective of, if things keep going the way they're going, this is what could happen. But you know what? Here's the reality. We could have a massive earthquake that could destroy half of the country. You want to know what won't matter? If that happens, a lot of what we're discussing right now.
That is the best thing ever. Like half of the population gone with a snap of your fingers.
Everything we've discussed could change at a moment. The earthquakes every day. You're right. I'm just saying, this is what I'm talking about. When people act like they know the future, you know right then that they don't have a clue what they're talking about. Because the one thing that has never been true is what someone completely thought the future would look like. Even the super smart people, like you look at say like Mr. Global, who I love watching when it comes to talking about the oil and gas markets, because he knows what he's talking about. But he even admits that everything he says is based on whether or not things happen in the way it looks like they're going to be. Because that's how it works. That's how the future works. I could get in my car and no longer be here. Well, I didn't know that was going to happen today. I didn't know that was going to happen right now. So how could I make any determinations on what my future looks like when I don't even know if I'm going to survive tomorrow? I'm going to do my best to. But, you know, the only person you have control of is you. How you react, how you interact. Are you willing to listen? Are you willing to be wrong? Like that's what we got. And then you got dumbasses like Mr. Nice Guy who come in and just say stupid things.
Mr. Nice Guy, why aren't you at work right now? What are you doing here? At any rate, that's just an aside. You know, talking of Mr. Global, there have been no winners in this Iran war except for Mr. Global. Holy shit, is he blown up?
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Oh yeah.
And rightfully so.
Yep.
He's fantastic. Yeah. At any rate, it is afternoon, Mike. I do have to
Yeah.
go to an appointment. Thank you so much for having me up. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Attorney Di. You know, Di, I only have one wish as before I shuffle off this mortal coil.
All right.
I don't know how many years I have left, and that one wish is to see a female elected president. So how about you? Why don't you run?
No, thanks. I've got too
No,
many
you don't
skeletons
want
in
it?
my closet. They're gonna find out what I did that was like illegal in the past. I couldn't bury it deep enough.
Well, I don't know. They went through Trump's closet, found a million things, and he won twice. So
True,
you
true.
never know.
You'll see me though in the background holding whoever's running up though.
Yeah.
You got it, dear. Mike, thank you very
Of
much.
course. Anytime, Scott.
All right.
Love having you.
Bye-bye, folks. Bye-bye, chat.
Bye.
So I just want a couple more things and then we'll end it. So Low Gardner asked who the panelists were. So so just so you know, Low Gardner, I go live on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube at the same time. So I bring people up on TikTok because right now that's my largest platform. Maybe if I get bigger, I'll end up bringing him somewhere. So who they are so we have Attorney Di who's over on TikTok, and Scott Dolan. They're both lawyers. Attorney Di, if you're interested in like law stuff, you should check her out, not only on TikTok but on the tube. She's got stuff on there too. Again, please check out all the content that I put up on the tube, especially the interviews. I interview people that are running for office. I interview people that just trying to have some of these conversations that we keep talking about. There's some great ones in there, so please go check them out. Please push them to people, because again, if we want to build conversation, it requires help from you guys. Interview Caitlin Collins. That would actually be pretty sick if I got a chance to do that. Guys, I do have to go. I will see you tomorrow morning. And yeah, you guys are amazing just the way you are. And I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys. You too, Low Gardner. Stay awesome. Bye.